So the need for new energy may not be readily apparent to all of us. From a consumer's point of view, there's surplus world oil and gas supply, and the prices now are comparably low compared to what we saw last year when they hit the stratospheric highs that everyone remembers. But we believe that this respite is just temporary. And for those of us in the oil and gas industry, that is a very daunting challenge. Developing economies will start their relentless growth over again as the economy recovers. India, China, Southeast Asia are going to top 3 billion people and continue growing. Latin America and some other countries, their economies are starting to ramp up again. Some experts say that by mid-century, we will be sharing our globe with 9 billion people. And those 9 billion people are going to want electricity, they're going to want food, they're going to want some mobility, and they're going to want health care, among other things. So as the standard of living increases, there's going to be a massive need for more energy. They go hand in hand. You may have seen in the New York Times, I think it was recently, there was an article about the need for 560 new coal-fired power plants or 230 new nuclear plants just to support our need for computers, for cell phones, and for all the other electronic gadgets that we have. And I don't think those numbers are even included in some of the figures that I'm going to show. So there are 3 hard truths that go along with this on the right of the chart. And these are the truths that Shell uses to kind of drive where we believe business is going to go. The first is that energy demand is increasing, that it will double by 2050. We talked about that. You saw that in the chart. The second is that, that supply is waning. The light, the conventional oil and gas, those fields are in decline. When you hear words like deep water or you hear tight gas or unconventional, that's not easy oil. That's at the leading edge of technology, and it's a high cost and it's high risk for companies that want to delve into that. The third hard truth, Shell believes then, is that in an environment where populous nations are coming into the growth part, the development part, the energy intensive part of their development cycle, that we're going to be needing more energy and producing more CO2. And the stress on the environment then is the third hard truth that you have to figure into this. So solutions are needed to come together with these 3 hard truths, and we don't have them yet. Hydrocarbons, oil and gas, are going to continue to supply a major part of our energy mix through mid-century and likely to the end of the century. From where we are right now, there just simply is no other choice. So, given the 3 hard truths, demand, supply, and CO2, I should have come to this one sooner, to think about and plan for an energy future from the position of an oil company and amid all of this turbulence and uncertainty, we have developed 2 scenarios that describe how we think things could play out. The first one is called the scramble scenario, you can see here. And under this scenario, it would be maybe a continuation of the status quo of where we are today. Energy and climate policies are unlinked. They're haphazard, they're crisis-driven. Countries and regions are protecting their own self-interests. They're very reactive. They're not given to collaboration or cooperation, and they don't think long-term about the decisions that they're making. So the result here is ever more CO2 and potentially some of the stair-step climate shocks that we hear about, read about, and some of the models are predicting. The blueprint scenario envisions some measure of global cooperation, some shared sacrifice globally among countries, some foresight. Localities and countries have got real rational and linked policies, energy and climate policies. We've got emissions valuation, we've got clean technologies, and we've got lots of conservation incentives. That's the blueprint scenario. And the result here, of course, would be a lower CO2 overall and a very much more rapid move towards some of the low carbon energy technologies. Out of business prudence, when Shell's planning for the future, we have to look at both scenarios. We have to consider both. But we're also committed to sustainable development in our operations, and we see the blueprints scenario as having the greatest hope for global sustainability and for human prosperity. And so for the first time, when our scenarios were put out this time, we actually advocated for the blueprints type scenario. How do we get there? Private and public sectors have to work together on policy, and they have to be very proactive. Doing nothing sends us straight down the scramble pathway. We have to put a fair price on CO2, and we have to do that through fair and effective regulation. We have to have greater efficiency and greater efficiency initiatives so that even our routine activities emit less CO2. And we have to develop some low CO2 energy sources, including things like natural gas and including some of the multiple fuel options that you're seeing today. Very tall order here, and governments are going to have to align internationally if we're really going to make some progress. It's massive, the amount of energy that we're talking about. And to couple that then with climate change presents a situation that I think only globally, only through cooperation can we achieve. We need some policies that open access for production of more oil and gas, for the transition period, for the long haul. We need increased production of unconventionals, the things that I mentioned previously, things like oil sands, tight gas. We're hearing a lot about these today. Any kind of unconventional oil and gas, we need to be able to produce those, and we need to do those in a way that, that reduces the CO2 footprint. On the climate front, we have to develop and deploy carbon capture and storage technology, we believe, and we have to do this at a scale that can actually impact the climate, beyond the research and development part of it. We think we need a cap and trade system that puts a very necessary value on carbon. As a starting point, until we get to a carbon valuation, it's going to be very difficult for business to make the kind of risk decisions they have to make these investments. And in the current economy, it's a matter of timing. There will be an impact on consumers. Prices, you don't do this without prices rising. And in the current economy, that's a huge consideration for people. But there's no other way to do it without seeing prices rise. It's not going to be free. So Shell's view of what must come out of Copenhagen really in two areas, maybe three. First, carbon capture and sequestration or storage technology, and a global mechanism for implementing these projects. This could be the clean development mechanism. It could be a completely separate instrument, but we feel that we have to make progress on these projects globally. And second would be clean technology funds. So beyond simple R&D, we'd want research, development, and deployment type funds to actually get us beyond the theoretical and into the actual doing space around clean technology. And we've got to pursue and accomplish these things through coalitions. We don't believe that one company or one country is going to be able to do it. So thank you very much.